All right, we are live. This is the voting list number 23, Thursday, April 8th, 2021. Environment and Transportation Committee. I'm the chairman, Kumar Parve. I'm joined by my vice chair, Dana Stein, and the members of my committee. And we will begin with House Bill 595, the otherwise described R2D2 bill. So this would be Dave's subcommittee. So Dave, why don't you just briefly tell us about this, and then we will proceed to vote.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for everyone for having me. Very quickly, if it's okay, we have two bills that do almost the same thing. So if it's all right with you, Mr. Chair, if we could start with the Senate version of the bill, which is 726, because that's the version that we have ready to go. And then after
sure. We'll start with 726 then. Yeah.
And then we can just comport the House bill to be exactly like that, and just, if that's okay.
Conform it, sure. Okay, yeah, 726.
So House Bill 726, as amended, Senate Bill 726. Senate Bill authorizes a personal delivery device, or PDD, to operate on a roadway, sidewalk, shoulder, footpath, bicycle trail, blah, 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 blah. The bill excludes PDDs from definition of motor vehicle and vehicle, thereby also exempting PDDs from any associated registration requirement. And then there were five subcommittee amendments. And the amendments, number one, clarify that PDDs may be operated on highway shoulders. Number two, clarify the authorization of the use of alternative forms of insurance. Number three, subject PDDs to applicable local permitting requirements and local compliance with local laws. Number four, clarify permitting process. Number five, alter the effective date to July 1 of 2021. Move the amendments.
I'm sorry, when is the effective? Dave, when's the effective date?
July 1st of 2021.
Second.
Just so you know, Mr. Chair, because I think I know what you're looking at, that there's a grace period in there of a year before
okay.
July of 2022, the MVA must developing the pilot project file.
Got it. Okay, so nothing's going to happen until July of 2022.
Yeah, they can start it, but MVA will have control over everything, and then also for some conversations with Delegate Terraza and others, there is going to be probably some just technical cleanup on the bill between now and then. There may be some MVA cleanup. And there's some other parts I think that we're going to have to address as it goes along. I think it's important to realize on this bill, as I mentioned before, this is kind of like, I don't know, 1907 or 1910, where we're kind of converting from horse and carriage to cars, and so there's probably going to be some bills in the coming years just to kind of clear up some things that maybe we didn't get right the first time, and making sure that we make adjustments as we learn more and more about these devices, and as other jurisdictions around the country learn about these devices as well.
Okay. Vaughn, are you speaking to the amendments or the bill itself?
Yeah, I just have a question about the amendments.
Okay, go for it.
And just if something is included, I saw that I think Virginia's bill and a few other states included a provision in their version of this. Obviously, we're not even close to the first state to do the bill. That the robots have to yield to humans on the sidewalk. Is that in this amendment? I didn't see it in the original first reader. Is that in the amendments?
I don't know that particular piece, Patrick. I don't think that.
Okay. I don't even see Patrick on my screen.
I'm checking now.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I see that they obviously have to obey, traffic rules and be like reasonable.
Yeah, that's the language. Obey traffic rules, which would include not running over pedestrians.
Right.
Right. Well, I'm sure they can't run over them.
All traffic and pedestrian control devices. But yeah, that's not the specific language you referred to. That might be something for the little work group over the interim to look at, though.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I have to say that language, Vaughn, that you were mentioning sounded very similar to Asimov's 3 rules of robotics. So,
do no harm.
Oh, see, Sheila Ruth knows what I'm talking about.
I know too.
A robot shall not harm or allow through inaction a human being to come to harm.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's so perfect that you're on this committee. So Trish, could you make me a host so I can put people's hands down when, in the meantime, Jen Terraza is next.
Are we on the amendment? I'm not sure
Amendment. On the amendment.
I don't know if this is on the amendment or not, but my concerns were resolved, and I appreciate Delegate Fraser Hidalgo working with me, but I don't know if that's the amendment or not. So, but now I've said it, so.
Well, there we go.
There you go.
All right, well, let's vote on the amendments at a minimum. All those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Okay, the amendments passed. The bill is amended. Is there a second?
Move the bill. Second.
Okay, any discussion on the bill as amended? All right, we'll do a roll call vote just to establish our attendance. Trish, roll call.
Vice Chair Stein,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Learman,
We didn't
Yeah.
hear you.
Sorry, yes.
Fraser Hidalgo,
Yes.
Otto,
Yes.
Jacobs,
Yes.
Weibel,
Yes.
Lamprey,
Yes.
Silverty.
He's going thumbs up, so that's a yes.
Wells,
Yes.
Love,
Yes.
Now we're all right.
Ruth,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Lehman,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Parrot,
Yes.
Boyce,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Delisi,
Yes.
Anderton.
Cornbread,
I think he's
You out
the
there?
only one. Yeah, out. He's out.
he's not, okay, he's absent then.
He's not in the meeting. Gilchrist,
Yes.
Healy.
Yes.
Mr.
Chairman votes yes. So that's Senate Bill 726 passes. Do you want to simply have a motion to conform House Bill 595 to Senate Bill 726?
You
So
actually
move.
did perfectly, please.
Second.
All right, the motion is to conform House Bill 595 to Senate Bill 726. All those in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes. Yes.
Any opposed?
Yes.
And what's that? Nobody's opposed? Okay. And I guess Anderton is still absent. Okay. 595 passes as conformed to Senate Bill 726. House Bill 1073.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 1073 is favorable from the committee without amendment. Without amendments, the bill establishes a passive House pilot program within DHCD to assist nonprofit organizations in providing students with career and technical educational experiences through the renovation of residential properties. And again, Mr. Chair, there are no amendments to House Bill 1073. Move House Bill 1073, Mr. Chair.
Second.
I'm going to exercise my authority as old fart chairman to just point out that when the first oil crisis occurred, my father, who was a hospital architect, wanted to incorporate passive solar design techniques in VA hospitals, and they stopped him. So yay, Pop. So Bill, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Papa would be happy. Senate Bill 636.
Senate Bill 636 is the cross-file from the bill we just passed, HB 1073. There are no amendments. Move favorable on SB 636, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Is Delegate Anderton with us yet? Nope. Okay, it passes. Senate Bill 97. Who has that?
I do. Sorry, I had to unmute.
That's
Great, thank you. As amended, SB 97 requires the MTA in cooperation with private partners to develop and implement a Purple Line marketing plan. There are amendments that were made by the Appropriations Committee. We are secondary on this bill. The amendments alter the due date for the report to the General Assembly and strike the sunset. Move the amendments.
Okay, okay, any discussion on the amendments? We'll proceed to vote on the amendments. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
No, the ayes seem to have, the ayes have it. The bill's before us as amended. Is there any discussion on the bill before we proceed to a vote? Okay, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Who's opposed?
No.
Okay, so Jacobs, Otto, Parrott, Siliberti, Jerry Clark. Any other Republicans I'm missing here?
Wyvil.
Wyvil. Okay, and Anderton's still absent, so I would assume that's 17-7.
6.
Oh, 17-6. Trish?
17-6, yes.
Right, okay. Let's skip over Senate Bill 414. We'll do that one last. Senate Bill 661.
Mr. Chairman, recommendation is favorable. This bill extends the current fee, 8 cents per barrel, that's assessed on oil transferred into the state until July 1, 2024. Beginning July 1, 2024, the fee is 5 cents per barrel. Move the bill.
Is there a second?
Second.
And refresh my memory, Dana, this was the fee that Ellen Valentino and the business community supported. Continuation
That's right.
of, right?
Yes.
Okay. Delegate Jalisi.
Just for clarification, we are reducing the fee from 8 cents to 5 cents per barrel?
In 3 years. In 3 years.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion on the bill before we vote?
Yes,
Yes, Dave.
it decreases or increases?
It keeps the current fee for 3 more years. And then in 3 years, the fee would be reduced. Every few years, we renew the fee on this cleanup fund at the current level. And so quite good chance that probably in 3 years, we'll extend the fee for another few years as well.
Okay.
Okay, any further discussion or debate on the bill before we vote? Delegate Jalisi, do you still want?
So I'm now I'm confused. So the fee is not decreasing over 3 years?
In 3 years, it does decrease, but
It's staying the same for 3 years and then it's going down.
No, but he just said that it might not go down.
Depends on what the legislature does.
yeah, no, I mean,
Okay.
my recollection is that every few years, we extend the current fee, which is what we're doing with this bill.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further discussion before we vote? Okay, all those in favor of Senate Bill 661 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, the bill passes unanimously. Senate Bill 877.
That is House Bill 877, Mr.
Sorry,
Chair.
that's right, House Bill 877.
And this is a work group bill that was presented to us by the Joint Committee on Ending Homelessness. And House Bill 877 had amendments added to it, Mr. Chair. And the amendments to House Bill 877 simply added members to the work group. I move the amendments, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Any discussion on the amendments? All right, we'll proceed to a vote on the amendment. Dave?
Yeah, I had a comment that we brought up in subcommittee. And I think I just wanted it to be on the record because I think it's important. And that is with this group moving forward, the people that have been picked for this study, there's nobody that represents the idea of this conversion when it comes to climate change or the environment. So if we're going to convert commercial property to potential residential property, I think it's important that the people that are making those recommendations take into consideration opportunities for energy efficiency. And there's nobody that's specifically picked to do
Well,
that.
Delegate, let me say that I think you'll be happy with the House selections for this because there are going to be people who actually do care about this.
That's what I thought, but and I did have some conversations about that. I just wanted to make sure it was on the record. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Oh, boy.
Cool.
Oh boy, what's the matter there?
No comment at the moment.
Okay, good. Why don't you wait till it's a couple degrees hotter and then you can comment.
On the amendment, all those in favor signify by saying aye, opposed no. The ayes seem to have it. The ayes.
Move the bill as amended, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second? Okay.
Second.
Delegate Jalisi, do you have your hand up from the previous thing or?
No, sir.
Okay.
So as amended now, I understand that it was a recommendation by the Joint Committee on Homelessness.
That
But
is
what
correct.
does the work group going to be working on? What is their task?
The primary or to put it into a very simple context, how to take vacant commercial properties into residential, very simple context.
No, but is the state going to be helping them by giving them any tax credits or any other benefits
It's a
to
work group.
promote this?
It's totally a work group.
It's a work group, so they're going to be discussing it. Okay, thank you.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay, I don't see anybody opposed, so it passes unanimously, I believe, amongst all present. And I think Anderton is still not with us, so okay. All right.
Senate Bill 764, Mr. Chair.
Is that the same bill?
Senate Bill 764 is the answer to your question is yes, sir. Senate Bill 764 is the crossfire of HB 877. And on this particular bill, Mr. Chair, we do not need to pass any amendments because these amendments were already put into the Senate bill prior to coming to us. So I move Senate Bill 764 as approved by the subcommittee, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll just proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? The bill passes unanimously among those present. Senate Bill 832. That would be probably Ann.
I don't have that one.
I think that sounds familiar. I think that's mine.
Oh, all right. Oh, yes, it is. Yes, right.
Okay.
I don't have the information here on that, Mr. Chair. You surprised me. I didn't see that on the voting list.
I think it was just put on. Matt,
Omar, you have the floor report also.
who, me?
And Matt.
Yeah. Well, Matt, tell us all what the bill does because you'll be more competent at it than me.
So you may remember this as House Bill 1061. As amended, the bill authorizes the county commissioners of a code home rule county of the Southern Maryland class to require a property owner of residential property to register that dwelling with the county in order to offer units in the dwelling for lease. The request of the Charles County Senators was to amend the bill in a similar fashion to what was done for House Bill 1061. Which would extend it beyond multifamily dwellings and include single family and other dwelling units.
Move the amendments, Mr. Chair.
And so, yes, the amendments simply conform the bill to House Bill 1061.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the amendments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. The ayes seem to have it. The ayes.
Move the bill as amended, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the bill? I don't see any, so we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed?
No.
Okay, so Delegate Jacobs is opposed, Delegate Weigel is opposed, Delegate Parrott is opposed, Delegate Clark is opposed, and Charles Otto is opposed. So basically, all the Republicans, and Anderton is not with us. So, okay, so that should be
17-6.
Yep. Okay.
Slide.
Okay. Now let's go to the main event. Senate Bill 414. Delegate Stein.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the chairman said this is the Senate version of the Climate Solutions Now Act. Our subcommittee took up the House bill, which was voted favorable with amendments in full committee. ECM has not yet taken up the House bill, but voted favorable with amendments on the Senate bill. The ECM amendments on the Senate bill largely conformed the bill to the House bill, HB 583, as we passed it. ECM adopted 3 additional amendments, which we were aware of and are good with. The ECM amendments exempt schools from having to meet new building performance and energy-related requirements, require MDE in consultation with the Commission on Climate Change to report on the opportunities for and the challenges of achieving a 60% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, and provides that the bill does not limit a local jurisdiction's authority to adopt energy conservation requirements for buildings that are more stringent than requirements established under state law. So there are 7 amendments. Amendment number 1 makes technical changes. Amendment number 2 strikes provisions relating to school construction, alters the greenhouse gas reduction target, sunsets in 2030 the planning requirement for achieving net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2045, strikes language that would have established a minimum amount for the social cost of carbon, and alters provisions relating to environmental justice considerations. Amendment number 3 strikes language that would have established energy conservation requirements for new construction of existing buildings, and instead requires that certain commercial buildings have a roof that is at least 40% solar ready, reflective, or green, and requires the Maryland Department of Labor to adopt the most recent version of the International Green Construction Code by a certain date. Amendment number 4 exempts school buildings from having to meet new building performance and energy-related requirements and restores a current law requirement regarding specified guidelines for new public school buildings. The amendment also adds language to require state buildings to install a certain energy-efficient HVAC system when the life cycle costs for that system are less than the cost for a system that meets specified compliance standards. Amendment number 5 establishes the intent of the General Assembly that 100% of other light-duty vehicles in the state fleet be zero-emission vehicles by 2035. This amendment also strikes language that would have established a net zero school fund and strikes language that would have altered the strategic energy investment fund. Amendment number 6 alters the bill's tree planting provisions, including by delaying goals under the bill by 1 year. This amendment also alters funding provisions relating to tree plantings, allocates funding from the Bay Restoration Fund for 1 year only in fiscal year 2023. General funds are to be used in fiscal year 2024 through fiscal year 2031. Amendment number 7 requires each state agency responsible for the procurement of concrete to give a price preference as determined by the Board of Public Works to the procurement of a concrete mix design that meets certain specifications, establishes the Blue Ribbon Solar Land Use Commission, and adds several reporting requirements for specified state agencies. Move the amendments, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, before I entertain questions, is there a second, number 1?
Second.
Okay.
Before I entertain questions, so basically, let me try to summarize. Step 1, we conformed the Senate bill to the House bill as we voted it out previously. Step 2, we added an amendment to direct the Department of the Environment in consultation with the Climate Change Commission to investigate going to 60% renewable by 2035, correct?
That's correct.
Step 3, what else did the Senate do?
We exempted, what ECM did was it exempted schools from having to meet new building performance related requirements.
Okay.
And then the last of the 3 amendments that ECM added on were that the bill does not limit local jurisdictions' authority to adopt stricter energy conservation requirements.
Okay. And then one other amendment that's going to be offered to both the House and the Senate bills, but it'll be done on the floor of the House because we're running out of time, is in the Blue Ribbon Solar Energy Commission, it's going to add a representative from the rural, what was it?
Electric cooperatives.
Right. The rural electric cooperatives get on there. So, okay, let's start with Delegate Lehman.
So thank you, Mr. Chair. I feel like the provisions addressing schools keep changing. So instead of going over what's been taken out, Delegate Stein, can you tell us what is left in for schools?
For schools will be required to, new schools would be required to use the same requirements as were established in the non-commission 3 years ago. So basically they're unchanged from current law.
Except that they, I think that they're still required. Are they required to do the geothermal stuff, or has that been eliminated?
That's been eliminated.
Okay, let me just tell you that the reason this has happened is I made the mistake of mentioning to the chair of the Appropriations Committee that my geothermal bill that went nowhere in her committee is now in this bill. And I think that set off a few alarm bells. And I know that people are a little sensitive about, I mean, not me. I think we should require schools to use geothermal systems, but you know, at the request of many people, this was something that we were asked to accept. So I just want to give you a full picture of how this all evolved.
So thank you for that, Mr. Chairman. But it sounds like there's virtually nothing left, very little addressing schools. I just think that's such a mistake. I mean, we have so many public schools. It didn't even really try to do much on retrofitting. It was all about new construction. And now there's virtually nothing left. I really think that's a mistake.
I'm you know what, Delegate, I'm disappointed too. I mean, I agree with you, but yeah. Okay, next, Delegate Ruth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And my comments are echoing Delegate Lehman's comments. I'm pretty unhappy that there's now no new requirements for schools.
Yeah, here.
When we just passed the Built to Learn Act, so we're going to, hello?
We're having trouble hearing you, Delegate. I'm sorry. I'll tell you what,
No,
let me go to the next person. And when we get through with everybody else, I'll reintroduce you, because then your internet connection might be better.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so let's go to Melissa.
Thank you. I think I may be, well, I'm echoing what Delegate Lehman said. I possibly might be getting to what Delegate Ruth was going to share, but with the Built to Learn Act, what is that going to be, around $5 billion in construction? And so obviously hearing what the chair is saying, I understand your disappointment in others. My question though is there some way, because I understand the bill has to move, but is there some way that we can still have some impact on the billions of dollars of school construction, new school construction, and also retrofitting that will happen? Like, I'm just hoping that this does not foreclose that ability, because we're not going to get it in this big bill, but I think that we are missing a huge opportunity to prepare, one, to have energy efficient buildings in our communities, and also that we are making this landmark investment in school construction. For us to not try to move some of that in this is unfortunate, but be that as it may, I would like to have a discussion about what we could do to continue to move on those goals if we can't do it this session.
I think, isn't there, Dana, somewhere in the bill, a reference to the interagency group? Isn't there some sort of reference in there?
You mean further discussion or exploration of the issue? No,
Yeah.
No, there isn't. Maybe there had been some talk about that, but that's not in the bill.
You know, for 2 years in a row, I put in a bill requiring geothermal systems for new public schools. And, you know, I'm going to put it in again next year, and hopefully I'll have better luck with it. But I have to say, I completely agree with you on this, Delegate Wells. Delegate Ruth, do you think your connection is more stable now?
I hope so. I switched networks. Is this better?
Yes, it's a lot better.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So yes, Delegate Wells did actually get to my point, which was that we just passed the Built to Learn Act, which is $2.2 billion in new school construction. And if we are not using that money to construct energy efficient schools or to, expand the requirements for schools, I think it's a huge, huge lost opportunity. And I certainly want to see us do anything we can to, ensure that the new schools that we're building with all this new funding are going to be energy efficient and help us get towards our climate goals. And I did also want to ask if, we can separate out that amendment from the others when we vote on the amendments. Thank you.
Yeah, sure we can. That's one amendment, right, Dana?
Let's see. It's part of one amendment, so we could just take out the full amendment, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Delegate Jacobs and Otto in that order.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So about 12 years ago, they renovated a school in my hometown, elementary school, and they did geothermal and all high efficiency windows and doors and all that. It was some sort of high efficiency upgrade. Would this, when you say that geothermal is taken out, would it preclude them from being able to do this kind of upgrade?
Nope.
No.
We're just not requiring it.
So they're not requiring it in new construction, but you could still do renovations and still use geothermal is what you're saying.
You could do it in new construction too. If Montgomery County took some money and said, you know what, our next high school is going to have solar and geothermal and be super insulated, they could do that still. They could choose to do that.
Well, they did the whole school, all the windows, the doors, and new geothermal heat, energy system, and it was about $3 million. So for the whole.
How'd it work out?
It worked good.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I keep telling people.
It's still working.
Yeah, and it will for the next 50 years.
Okay.
And it saves money in the long term.
And not that long a term.
No, not really. Right.
And it doesn't increase construction costs significantly either. For anyone that a new school, $3 million is not.
No, yeah, it's like 100 million for a new high school now.
Oh, let me tell you something. Norm Conway, who was the previous chair of appropriations, it took us 10 years to convince him to insulate schools. His attitude was if it cost a nickel more, he didn't want to do it. It was just crazy. Delegate Otto.
Thank you for remembering my colleague from my district, but
he's a good man, but
you mentioned something on the goals, changing to 60% by 35. Weren't we at 50?
It's a study.
Right. We're still at 50%. The bill establishes 50% by 2030 and requires the study of the feasibility of getting to 60% by 2035.
All right, cool.
And that was at the request of Ben Grumbles.
That makes sense.
Okay, so let's vote on all the amendments except the one that we had separated out. Can we do that?
Yeah, okay. That's amendment number 2 that.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's vote on amendment number 2 first, and then we'll vote on something else. How's
actually, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. And Chris, maybe you can confirm, so I know we had to make that school exception in a couple different parts of the bill. It looks like amendments number 2 and 4 exempt school buildings.
Let's do amendment 1.
Amendment number 1? Okay,
yes.
That's just technical changes.
Okay. On the technical amendments, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed to the technical amendments? I didn't think so. Okay. Amendment number 3. Which one is that?
This one strikes language that would have established energy conservation requirements for new construction and existing buildings. Instead requires that certain commercial buildings have a roof that is at least 40% already reflective or green, and requires adoption of the most recent version of the International Green Construction Code.
Move the amendment.
Is there any discussion?
I have a question. Yeah, I have a question about that because I mean, does that not apply to schools now because of the other amendments, or will that apply to all buildings as they go forward?
No, the provisions that are in this amendment pertain just to commercial buildings. The solar ready requirement just applies to commercial buildings, and the International Green Construction Code is an optional energy efficiency code for commercial buildings.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Okay, on the amendment, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, amendment carries. Amendment number, we're skipping over, we're going to amendment number 5.
Establishes the intent of the General Assembly that 100% of other light duty vehicles in the state fleet be zero emission vehicles by 2035. The amendment also strikes language that would have established a net zero school fund and strikes language that would have altered the Strategic Energy Investment Fund.
Let me just say something. In this provision, we are quadrupling the number of vehicles that will be electrified compared to the Senate bill. Isn't that right?
Yes, I'm not sure the exact ratio, but that's in the range, yes.
Okay, is there a second? Sorry. Somebody has to second it.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying
Aye.
Aye.
opposed. Okay, the amendment carries. Amendment number 6.
That alters the bill's tree planting provisions, including by delaying goals under the bill by 1 year. It also alters the funding source for the tree planting, changing what was in the Senate bill in the original version of the House bill, so that now the funding for the tree planting comes just 1 year from the BRF, the other 7 years from general funds.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
David Fraser Hidalgo.
I just wanted to check with Delegate Stein. Is everything that we've discussed still in the bill?
Still good.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further discussion on this amendment? Seeing none, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the amendment carries. Is it Amendment 7? Is that the last amendment?
Yes, yes. That one requires each state agency responsible for the procurement of concrete to give a price preference that's determined by the Board of Public Works to the procurement of basically a climate-friendly concrete mix, establishes the Blue Ribbon Solar Land Use Commission, and adds several reporting requirements for state agencies.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Let me just say that one of the biggest advances in construction is going to be truly green concrete, which rather than expelling CO2, absorbs CO2. We're not quite there yet, but this lays the groundwork. Delegate Jacobs. Jay?
Yeah, I'm trying to, here I am. Hey, it said you cut me out of the video. You don't want to see me anymore or something like that.
No, we always want to see you, man. You've got a beautiful face. Come on.
I keep trying to get on there and it says, oh, now is start my video. There you go.
Okay.
He was afraid when I was going to raise my hand on that. That's what it was.
I'm sorry, Delegate Jacobs, that was my accident. I was trying to stop my video and I did yours.
Okay.
We were trying to save energy, Jacobs.
You know, I was going to ask a question about the restoration funding and you answered it, but I was just getting ready to raise my hand and that's when the screen went black and I said, he knew what I was going to do, I guess.
No, we're gonna have to build that feature into Zoom just for you.
Okay, thank you.
Put your hand up now. Okay, on that amendment, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the amendment passes. So we have amendments 2 and 4 remaining, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Amendment 2, describe it to us again.
Strikes provisions relating to school construction, alters the greenhouse gas reduction target, sunsets in 2030 the planning requirement for achieving net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2045, strikes language that would have established a minimum amount for the social cost of carbon, and alters provisions relating to environmental justice considerations.
Now, just to be clear, a lot of those provisions were put in a Tony Bridges bill, weren't they?
Some of the environmental justice language, yes, was.
Okay.
we consulted with Delegate Boyce to revise the language that is remaining so that of all this work that's in the bill on EJ doesn't fall squarely on the commission, but it's MDE in consultation with the commission.
And Delegate Boyce, you fundamentally agree with that. Okay. On the amendment, I'm going to vote for the amendment. I'm going to vote for all the amendments. I'm going to vote for the bill. It's not perfect. And I'll be the first person to admit this. This provision is not as strong as I would want for it to be, but it's the will of the House, and I'm a good member of the House. So when we're going to pass a really good bill, but Delegate Ruth has her hand up, and so we're going to listen to her.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Amendment 2 has a lot of provisions that we already voted on. Is that correct? In the last?
That's right.
And so the parts relating to schools in Amendment 2, were they in what we voted on before?
Yes.
No.
Yes,
No.
they were. For amendment number 2, yes. That's
Okay.
just breaking out the net zero.
Oh, yeah, requirement.
Oh, right, the non-school
Yeah.
parts,
So,
yes.
so that one has already been voted on by the committee.
Okay, and so
That
Amendment,
was adopted for the House bill.
so Amendment 4 is the one that really was
Yeah.
the new change.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess that's right.
Actually, Kristen, I believe amendment number 2 also, there were 2 different places where we had to exempt schools from requirements. And so I believe amendment number 2 and 4 exempt school buildings from different requirements.
Well, we exempted.
I just know that amendment number 2 was really just taking out the provisions, the new provisions that related to school construction in the bill as introduced.
Oh, it's just
Well,
the net zero schools?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, all right then.
All right, so this amendment really doesn't address the additional thing that many of us found distasteful.
That would be your amendment number 4.
Is there that, so sorry, I don't understand. Now I'm confused. Could Kristen maybe clarify which amendment are we voting on right now? And
2.
Okay.
I think you need to vote on 2, but I
Right.
think it was the problematic one.
What does that do?
It's not the problematic one. Okay.
Yeah. No, that's
4 is the one that's problematic.
right.
I do have a question about-
Well, Delegate Ruth, then Delegate Healy.
Thank you so much for explaining that. And I just wanted to explain my vote then. I will vote for Amendment 2 because I did vote for it the first time. And I'm not thrilled about removing the net zero schools, but I did vote for it for the first time, so I'll vote for it again.
Okay, Delegate Healy.
Yeah, I'm going to vote for all the amendments too, but I do want to understand about this question about the sunset. I didn't understand. Is this bill going to sunset after all this work?
What will sunset is the net zero target by 2045, unless there's reauthorization by the legislature. The original bill.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Sure. So the net zero emissions target for 2045 sunsets in 2030 unless it's reauthorized by the legislature. The original
okay.
the original bill sunset the 2030 target and the 2045 net zero target in 2025. So this basically just says the only one that has to be reauthorized is the net zero target for 2045.
Thank you.
I'd like to say something about net zero schools. It's a provision that I sort of instinctively didn't like because, you know, in life and in business and in policy, you know, getting the most expensive thing is the last 10%. And here's what MEA wrote, and I think they're right about this. They say that, you know, they helped the construction and design of Howard County's Wildlife Middle School, and they have experience with 2 schools in Baltimore City. And they say, quote, the benefit of one net zero school may be less than the benefits that could be had for the same overall cost by utilizing more cost-effective upgrades to multiple schools. This would also increase the geographic diversity of overall benefits. I had no problem with the initial position that we took with respect to net zero schools. Of course, that's my opinion, and I know other people disagree with me, but I felt I had to say that. So in any case, this isn't the problematic amendment. So regardless, okay, so let's vote. Unless there's, nobody else has their hand up. All those in favor of amendment number 2 signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, let's go to Amendment 4. Now, Amendment 4 is the one that completely removes schools from the ambit of the bill, correct?
That's right, from the building performance and HVAC related requirements. So, so it exempts school buildings from having to meet the new building performance and energy related requirements, and restores a current law requirement regarding specified guidelines for new public school buildings. So just to annotate a little bit, it's not as if new schools have no energy conservation requirements. It's just they're the ones that were set 3 years ago. The amendment also adds language to require state buildings to install a certain energy efficient HVAC system when the life cycle costs for that system are less than the cost for a system that meets specified compliance standards. And that also applies to any building that gets % state funding.
And what international code standards are we using here?
The international, the ICC, the International Code Council standards. So that the regular commercial code standards that are updated every 3 years.
Okay. DFH and then Brooke Learman in that order.
Thank you. Just so I can understand, because I'm not on the subcommittee, so I haven't gotten a chance to really get into it. So the way the bill was originally written, it required schools to implement geothermal, or did it require schools to be net zero, or what did it do, and why exactly are we pulling that amendment out, or changing the amendment, changing that part of the bill, or amending that part of the bill?
Okay, well, I'll try my hand at your first question of what the original bill did. The original bill, aside from establishing a net zero school requirement for every school district, with respect to all other new schools, I do not believe changed anything. However, we incorporated a bill that Delegate Forbes and Senator Hedelman had drafted that would have set stricter energy efficiency requirements for new schools. And then also the chairman's, the bill that, the concept that reflects the chairman's bill of saying that all new state-funded buildings have to have high efficiency HVAC systems. Originally, that would have applied to schools.
Or geothermal.
Right.
And the bill that I had required said that they would have to do a payback, a life cycle analysis, and if the payback period was 15 years or less, they had to do it, because I think that's a reasonable metric.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable metric too. So, but that's amended out of the bill. Is that correct?
Well, let me answer the second part of your question for you. I heard from a number of people that the bill would be stronger, in the House and in the Senate if we didn't touch schools this year. I can't question that reasoning. Okay, I'm not happy with it, but I can't question that reasoning. I would hate to lose a renewable energy bill on the floor of the House because people were afraid that it was going to make schools too expensive. And the fight. Look, this big built to learn process, it's going to be many, many years rolling this stuff out. We're going to have more opportunities to alter the law with respect to this. I'm certainly going to keep trying. Delegate.
Okay. Can I?
Thanks.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Dave wasn't finished.
No. So based on what you just said, first of all, I agree with everything else that was said with the amount of money that we're putting into the building. I think it's a bit of a travesty that we don't have this in, but that's actually a big travesty and it's very upsetting. But with that said, I get what you're saying, Mr. Chair. I completely understand what you're saying, and I would rather live to fight another day and then come back and hit this in a more in a way in which we can win this battle, because I don't want to lose the war for one battle. Thank you.
Delegate Learman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So yeah, I want to just remind folks to a few years ago, this is my appropriator hat on, we had a commission called the 21st Century School Facilities Commission, otherwise known as the Knott Commission, after Marty Knott, who chaired it. It was a 2-year commission, bipartisan commission that looked at how we build schools in Maryland. And it considered this issue very in depth. And the reason that they ultimately didn't require it, because we aren't ready to pay for it. And, you know, there are a lot of jurisdictions in Maryland right now, like mine, where we can't forward fund the building of schools. And what that means on the ground is that we say, okay, we need to build a new school. I'll just use a school in my district that is at 180% capacity and is in a very low income area called Brooklyn. We need to renovate a building to add more capacity to that school. We have been collecting money through the CIP process every year for 3 years, and we still don't have enough to renovate that school because we can't get enough funds through the CIP process. So, and that every year costs rise. And so it's this really vicious cycle of trying to build new schools when you are a poor district and you don't have the funds. But the good thing is that when we replace this building, then we're replacing school buildings all over. Those are 40 years old. Anything we put in right now, even if it's not LEED gold or LEED platinum, anything we put in right now is a huge increase in efficiency. I mean, just light years better than it was 50 years ago. And so to me, like, I would love to have, I am so excited for the day when we are able to build these like net zero schools. In fact, I'll tell you, we have 2 net zero schools in Baltimore. They were made possible because of the Exelon merger, where we got, you know, tens of millions of dollars extra to be able to build them. I'd love for all the schools to be that. We're just not there yet. And so for me, appropriations will continue to look at this issue, I know, but I don't want people to think that this is something that was just tossed aside randomly. Like, people are looking at this in depth. It's a really important issue. So thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose when I put the bill in, I was thinking about stupid Montgomery County choosing not to do geothermal when they could afford to. And I totally understand, Delegate Learman, where the city is and where some of the other rural places are, but there's just no excuse for Montgomery County. But I guess that's a fight I'll fight another day. Okay, any other comments on this amendment before we vote? Okay, there's a second. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Who's opposed? Delegate Ruth, Delegate Lehman, Delegate Terraza. Let's see if I can find any other hands. I think that, Delegate Stewart. Okay. All right. The amendment carries. Now I'd like to, this isn't written down quite yet, but let's do a verbal, because we're going to do a floor amendment, and rather than me pull, I don't have the ability to pull the whole committee into the lobby anymore, because half of you are in the annex. So, describe to me what this floor amendment is going to look like, Dana.
Sure. It will add to the Solar Land Use Commission one representative of a rural electric cooperative. So it just alters the commission composition by 1 member.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All those, David, you're muted.
See you in 2 minutes.
How do you define rural electric cooperative?
Max.
What's that?
How do you define rural electric cooperative?
I mean, I think we only have 1 or 2 of them.
There's Jerry.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead, Charles.
Chop Tank is a rural electric cooperative that serves the 9 Eastern Shore counties. And there is Southern Maryland Electric Cooperative.
SMECO.
That has, SMECO is a rural electric cooperative. I'm not sure if Western Maryland, there's some things, but it's a federal government program that was established during the Depression that electrified the rural areas of the state. And I pay 3 bills a month to a rural electric cooperative. And as that, I'm a member of the cooperative.
I think that we can make sure the language properly defines it in the code. We'll make sure of that, David.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the bill is before us as amended is second.
Second.
Okay, any discussion on the bill before we vote? Okay, we're going to do a roll call.
Vice
Chris?
Chair Stein,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Learman,
Yes.
Fraser Hidalgo,
Yes.
Otto,
No.
Jacobs,
I appreciate all the work that's been put into this bill. I know Dan has worked hard and a lot of other people, and it's been a lot of work go into it, but it's too many moving parts for me, so I'm a no.
Weibel,
No.
Lamprey,
Yes.
Silberti,
Yes.
Wells,
Yes.
Love,
Yes.
Ruth,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Lehman,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
Parrot,
No.
Boyce,
Yes.
Clark,
I too really appreciate all the work that's gone into it, but I'm as passionate about nuclear as David is about electric cars. So I good conscience without any wording in there about nuclear as an alternative or an option or any nuclear participation. I'm going to have trouble supporting the bill, so I'm a no.
DeLacy,
Yes.
Delegate Anderton. Okay. Gilchrist,
Yes.
Healy,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I want to really, I'm going to vote yes and explain that I think this is the best bill on climate solutions among the two before us. I'm very proud to vote yes and very happy with the work that my committee and my vice chairman have done on it. Okay, we have some, when the bill passes, it looks like,
Mr. Chair,
what is it?
Mr. Chair, I just wondering if, did you want to handle the House bill similar to like a concurrence with an oral vote to conform it? Since the committee's already voted on the House bill, as long as it's not changing anyone's outcome, just to adopt those three different additional amendments.
So basically make a motion to conform the House bill to what we've done with the Senate bill?
Correct.
Second.
Okay, I'm going to assume that the votes are going to be the same as they were for the last one. Is that okay with everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
You just
Okay.
might have different attendance, that's all.
No, I mean, the last, the vote on Senate Bill 414, make that the vote on the concurrence of the House bill to.
But the official
It's not a
fiscal vote will show what was voted initially.
As it was voted initially?
Yeah,
So this is
concurring with the additional amendments.
Okay, all those in favor of concurring signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, the concurrence passes, and that's what we're going to do with that bill. We have some other concurrences before us that we should tend to right now. House Bill 2, which the motion is to concur in the Senate amendments, and this is the, what is this? This is the bill that,
MES reform,
MES reform, and we're secondary?
correct?
Okay, so it's the MES reform bill that Mark Corman had. We're secondary. We're just, what are we concurring in the Senate amendments and motion to concur? What do the amendments do, Kristen?
It just makes the effective date, instead of an emergency bill, it makes the bill effective July 1, 2021. The same thing
Okay.
that happened with the
Okay,
Senate.
motion to concur. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? We concur. Next bill is House Bill, motion to concur on House Bill 1061. This is the Charles County delegation bill that has to do with dwelling registration and inspection fees. It's the amendment is technical and conforming. It changes to correct a drafting error. That's all.
Second.
Okay, okay, all those in favor of concurring signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we concur. All righty then, we have, okay, this is the Senate Bill 200, the Natural Resources Organized Killing Contests, and motion is to not recede and to form a conference committee. So the motion is to not recede. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of not receding signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, we will not recede. Does anybody remember who I assigned to this, to the House bill for the conference committee? Was it Jim?
Gilchrist, Stein, and Jacobs.
Gilchrist, Stein, and okay, so same people. Gilchrist, let me write this carefully so you can read my handwriting, unlike the last time. Stein and Jacobs. Okay, that's the conference committee. Okay, House Bill 562, Montgomery County speed limits. Motion is to concur. And what happened here? Does anybody know? Dave, somebody? Patrick? This is Montgomery County.
It's on your sheet. It's First Amendment's technical. Second Amendment applies it to municipalities and prohibits speed monitoring systems on highways where speed limit is lowered under the bill.
Yeah, well, the local sponsor, David Moon, reluctantly accepted that, so I'm going to move to concur. Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying, whoa, Dave?
A question.
Yeah.
I have a question. This was the local bill that the Montgomery County delegation just got voted on, right? So I don't have this paper, just so everybody knows, I don't have this in front of me. It went directly to the chair. So just to slow down just a little bit, because I want to make sure I get clarity and I want to be consistent. When this came back to the delegation, one of the amendments, please correct me if I'm wrong, Patrick, is that they could not put a speed camera in.
Where they lowered the speed limits under this bill, yes.
So if they lowered the speed limits, they can't put a speed camera
Under
in.
this bill.
Okay, but can they put a speed camera in?
If they use the provisions in this bill to lower the speed limit, no.
Even if they do a study?
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that was, I insisted upon the notion that there had to be a study if Montgomery County lowered its speed limits, because I didn't want a speed camera unless there was a study, and now they're just saying no study, no nothing. You can't lower it. If you lower it, you can't have a speed camera. So David Moon says he will reluctantly accept that. So all those in favor of concurring signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we concur. Final, okay, so final bill, it is a Prince George's County.
I'm on the record.
What's
David
that?
is
I want
opposed.
to make
David
sure I'm on
says.
the record.
You're on the record being opposed?
Yes.
You know, I
Opposed to
don't,
concurrence.
I actually don't think we just do we don't do a vote sheet, do we, Trish?
I just do a tally number, so like it would be 22-1 concurring.
Yeah. So you're like a Neo, you're the one.
I am. I don't think it's good
on
policy
TV right now, though.
I just don't think it's good policy to set a precedent in which we cannot put a speed camera in. I think that's really bad policy. That's why I'm against it. But thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go no with the ethics.
Sorry.
So you're like Neo also.
Yeah,
Don't
we're both
really
Neos.
want to open up this speed camera conversation? Are we going there?
I'm sorry. I just wanted
Let's
to make
go
this clear.
there.
I'm sorry.
Let's not go there.
Let's not go there.
And Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, there can only be one Neil Parrott, so.
No, Neo, not from the
Matrix. The Matrix.
Oh, I thought you were saying he was Neil Parrott.
Oh, no. Oh no. You're right. There can only be one Neil.
I would prefer to use the
sense too,
reference.
though.
I would prefer to use the reference to Highlander, and there can be only one.
But that
Okay, are we
has to
done?
be said in a Scottish brogue, though, doesn't it?
That's Fraser, right?
Mr. Chairman, maybe Neil Parrott is Neo from the Matrix. You
Oh
never
my
know.
God.
Really?
Oh
I'm not gonna
no.
watch that movie again.
I'm so scared. I'm so scared.
Okay, last concurrence, House Bill 980, a Prince George's County Public Ethics Definition of Application. Oh my. So it strikes the bill. It exempts Prince George's County Council members participating in countywide zoning map amendment process and prohibits planning board from recommending and county council from approving. Oh my, this, does Prince George's County delegation agree with this?
Yes.
Yes,
Delegate Barron informed me
Yes.
that they support it.
we have a letter.
We
The
have a
count-
letter.
The council accepted it.
We have a letter on
So
that too,
it-
Yep.
So we have a letter and a vote tally sheet, huh?
from the delegation and the council.
And what does this do?
Game
It-
over.
it
all
flips
of the
bill-
things that everybody was complaining about.
Yes.
But can we go through what it does?
Sure.
But it's a local bill. It really doesn't matter. The council,
Prince George's County.
they're
Go
okay
ahead.
with it. And it
They
was
are.
their bill. It was
It
their.
addresses many, my understanding is that it addresses many of the concerns. I haven't seen the complete reprint, but yeah.
All those in favor of concurring with the Senate, by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we vote.
Can I just be on the record as, I'd love to know what this bill does before we voted, but we voted, so
Well, you know what?
so be it.
Yeah, who can explain what this local bill does now at this point?
I can.
Somebody.
Let staff do it.
Patrick can. I haven't even seen the reprint.
Let's see. Go ahead, Patrick.
Basically, this does the same thing, in the main part of the bill, does the same thing in a different way. The original bill put in the definition and took the definition and carved out the comprehensive rezoning, countywide comprehensive rezoning from the definition of an application. This bill just exempts the county council members participating in the countywide zoning map amendment process, countywide again, from the recusal requirements. It kept in the sunset of a year and a half that this committee had put on and the delegation. And it prohibits the planning board from recommending the county council from approving zoning intensification requests that differ substantially from the new zoning ordinance that was adopted in 2019, I believe. And it also requires the return of any contribution from an entity that requests a zoning intensification request while the zoning map is being considered.
Works.
Oh, well, thank you, Patrick. And yes, my vote is yes.
Told you it was good.
Delegate
I didn't
Lehman.
need to know what I was voting on.
Yeah, no, it's better.
I have no such qualms. Delegate Lehman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the amendment is far from perfect, but it got at one of the things that I personally was most concerned about, and a lot of advocates were concerned about, which was developers and other property owners using this comprehensive map amendment process to intensify their zones or seek more dense zoning. And I don't think it's quite as clear as it can be, but it gets close enough, I think, that a lot of effort was put into it, which is why I am supportive, reluctantly, but supportive.
Okay. All right, that's all we're going to say about that. Announcements. David.
Motor Vehicle Subcommittee will be meeting tomorrow, directly after our first session.
Okay. Brooke.
Land use and ethics will be meeting tomorrow at 9:30 a.m.
Okay. Any other subcommittee chairs before I go to others? Why are you frowning like that, Marvin? Oh.
You got that 9:30?
Okay. Delegate Ruth. He's frozen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm not frozen, am I?
No, Marvin is.
Oh, okay. Okay. I just wanted to say if we in the future do need to go off the floor to huddle, we could always meet in Lawyers Mall or in the tunnel or in the
There you
tunnels.
go.
Oh, boy.
Lawyers Mall is definitely a fresh air, open meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Well, nice idea.
Halfway.
It would take too much time. Okay, so that's it. I will see you guys bright-eyed and bushy-tailed on the floor of the House at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Take care.